Talent likely going top. Oh, actually a Fiddlesticks being chosen very quickly for the jungle. That's an interesting choice.
That is interesting, but I think we might find that Raiden might actually main Fiddlesticks. Yes, he does. He's played 56 solo queue games with Fiddlesticks, has a 62% win percentage. I think I've actually played in games with him where he is Fiddlesticks. So while Fiddlesticks has fallen out of favor recently, still a very strong choice. Really has a team fight, potential that can just turn around games. So we're waiting for that last pick, which will almost undoubtedly be a support, unless we happen to see a Talon support, which I don't think is likely. 18 more seconds coming in. One thing to note for all you viewers out here, because there was that delay, because Dignitas, was forced to bring in a substitute and, put us off 40 minutes, they have been docked Game 1, meaning this is actually Game 2, and Jpak and Friends already has a 1-game lead, so they only need to win one of these games in this best-of-3 series, whereas Dignitas will have to have a 2-0 sweep to move on in the tournament.
Yep, and Galio being chosen, so that looks like it could be a support Galio for Dignitas there.
Yeah, it certainly could be. We also saw in IEM Hanover they used a support Fiddlesticks. I don't really think we're going to see a support Talon, but you never know. Dignitas is always kind of on the cutting edge, bringing us new and interesting things. They kind of championed the Gangplank support in a tournament, and it turned out really well for them. It was a Gangplank and Caitlyn bottom lane, and they also had a Katarina and I believe Jax on the team, so everyone really benefited a ton from the raised morale of Gangplank. We'll see what they have in store for us today. Of course, that Galio was used as support in IEM Hanover. I believe it might have been from Moscow 5, but I'm not certain on that. But it really proved to be effective with his shield to guard the AD carry and being able to use his ultimate for really great teamfight control.
Yep, and Karthus, the last pick for Jpak and Friends, probably going to go middle, which puts Kennen at top. Now, for Dignitas, I'm a Cutie Pie has Talon right now, and Voyboy has Corki, and they still have a little bit of time left to switch, so they will probably be doing that.
Yeah, I think we'll see a switch here, though I'm not entirely certain. Raiden, of course, is the substitute, and I believe he is a jungling main. Of course, I Will Dominate is now the jungler for Dignitas, but as of now, he is locked in with the Udyr, probably will go top lane with that, replacing Voyboy, although that's interesting. Of course, they're missing out on their AP carry, who is usually Skara. So all of the picks are going down with I'm a Cutie Pie on Talon, Voyboy on Corki, Udyr being played by I Will Dominate, going top lane most likely, and Locust, who is their support player, is on Galio.
Yep, so I'm just interested in what Dignitas is planning here.
Yeah, I mean, they always bring us something new and exciting. We're going to see something new and exciting today. I feel like I'm uncertain about that last pick, Karthus, because Talon can counter a Karthus. Karthus isn't incredibly frightening in lane. If they send Talon middle, then that Karthus doesn't really have a great place to go, because Karthus is also not a particularly good top laner just by virtue of the fact of having no escape.
Yeah, so I mean that is a good point. So, but the thing is, Talon was picked first, so it was almost like they might have counterpicked themselves with the Karthus pick.
Right, yeah, that's why I didn't understand why it was, that last pick. They had, a choice of a number of different people, but Karthus is one of the ones I would not necessarily pick against a Talon. Of course, his Defile is rather strong, so he does dissuade melee characters for, jumping on top of him, because he has that AoE area of effect damage. All that being said, we just have to wait and see how it goes here. The one thing we saw last night was Curse picked up Nocturne as a jungler, and we haven't seen Curse too much in Nocturne too much in recent tournaments, but the one thing he brings you is great potential to split push and the ability to jump on AD carries, no matter where they are. And we saw that really work against the Kog'Maw last night, because of course Kog'Maw has no natural escapes. Here we have a Voyboy on Corki. Corki has Valkyrie to get away and will be carrying Flash, so it's a little bit more mobile. It's not really necessarily as dependent on his team to get away from that Nocturne, but we'll see if that Nocturne is able to use all of his skills effectively, use Paranoia to be able to split push and jump into team fights at the right moment.
Yep, so we still have a little bit of time remaining, so I just want to remind everybody that this is the ggClassic sponsored by gaming.stackexchange.com. Head on over there. They have a great site for answering and asking questions about gameplay, about mechanics, about really whatever you want to find out about League of Legends. So they also have a contest going on right now.
Right, and up for grab is a solid-state drive and a 27-inch HD TV, LCD, I believe that is. And how you win those prizes is you just go onto gaming.stackexchange.com and ask and answer questions League of Legends related. Put ggClassic in your profile. It is easy as that. Of course, your questions and answers will be rated by the community as a whole, and the site is ran by the gamers as a community. So really, you'll get answers to your questions, and if you answer questions, you're in the running for these prizes.
Yep, and I also encourage everybody to use that site for other gaming needs that they have, because it's not just for League of Legends. It's for, I mean, I've seen Mass Effect, I've seen Skyrim, I've basically seen, any game that you can think of there. So yeah, check that out.
Ooh, we see Hot Rod Corky, one of the sexiest skins in the game, for Voyboy, Crimson Elite Talon, Surprise Party Fiddlesticks, Commando Galio, and is that Brown Belt Udyr? I think that might be. So Dignitas is decked out in spades with their skins.
Yep, and we have the Lion Dance Kog'Maw once again, probably the most common skin for Kog'Maw recently.
Right. We saw Lion Dance Kog'Maw in all three of our games last night. Was switched between separate players. That is the legendary skin for Kog'Maw. Really fun skin. Of course, his ultimate, his living artillery, kind of shoots off fireworks and sparkles and has a great sound effect. So we've seen it in 4 games so far. Every game that we cast, we see this Lion Dance Kog'Maw. I believe he is stalking us.
The Lion Dance Kog'Maw itself is stalking us. Well, you can be stalked by worse things.
Indeed, indeed. So we see a really great pairing, I believe, for later game team fights with that Kennen and that Karthus. We've seen them, kind of work together to use both of their ultimates at the same time. For Karthus to run in there with his Defile, while Kennen uses Slicing Maelstrom to great effect. So we'll see if they're able to catch Dignitas in that, huge area of effect. Meanwhile, Fiddlesticks is rather like, oh, well, if you're going to ultimate and try to keep everyone in one place, that just makes it that much easier for me to jump on in there, throw my surprise party, blow my little Kazaa, Huzzah thing, and really go to town.
Yeah, but the one thing to note is that Jpak and Friends does have a Janna who can push that Fiddlesticks away if he does decide to ultimate in there.
Indeed. But that Janna has to be careful also to not interrupt her own team's AoE. We see very defensive positionings here from both teams. I Will Dominate runs into nothing here. It takes a little shuriken to the face and a little auto attack damage. But really Dignitas is just defensively lining up to make sure no jungle invades happen. So both teams are going to be content to just let their jungler start in their usual place. Of course, both junglers really prefer getting blue buff first here. Both Nocturne and Fiddlesticks really rely on that for their fast jungler clears. So they're kind of prone to being counter jungled. But we do see that both teams will probably pick up their jungle without any harassment.
Yep, so they both, as you said, are just sitting in their own jungle right now as the minions are going to spawn. Looks like both are going to start with their own blue buffs, as is customary. They both like having that mana, especially Fiddlesticks, who really hasn't seen as much use recently because it seems like he is so easy to counter by taking that blue away from him.
And not only that, but you kind of rely on your jungler to give up his second blue buff, and that is almost always happens in tournament level play, where the jungler gives up his blue buff his second time around to that AP middle carry. We'll see, if Fiddlesticks does indeed give it away to the Talon, to I'm a Cutie Pie in middle there. Potentially Talon might not need that as much as an other AD carry because he's so burst related. You can just go on in there, kill someone without much mana use, and then head back to base whenever he does need to recover. But we shall see when it comes around 7 minutes.
Yep, so everybody is back at their own lane. It is indeed Talon against Karthus at mid. The Udyr is going top against Kennen, and bot lane is Voyboy on Corky against Locust on Galio. Or with Locust on Galio, sorry, against the Kog'Maw and the Janna.
Right, and Corky actually took some early game harass. Perhaps Kog'Maw and Janna were thinking, oh, at level 1, they might not be quite as strong as us. Let's use that to our advantage, pick up some free CS, zone him out a tiny bit, but now everything seems back to equal here. Although there is some aggression.
Yep, and they just get some hits on, maybe down to about half health. They both are using their health potions to get that life back.
Yeah, of course, Galio has a little bit of sustain through his W shield that he can put on his carry, but it relies on the other team or minions hitting him. Meanwhile, we see middle pretty aggressive play by ggClassic. Nocturne was coming around, maybe thinking about a gank there, but Talon did back off, just in time to really, dissuade Nocturne from coming in.
Oh, down at bottom we see Azulal just being really aggressive, just using that harass and just getting on him and actually finishing him off to get first blood on the Corki.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive. Of course, Voyboy doesn't really main Corki, so that's unfortunate, and he went for a really aggressive lineup there, or a setup. He's running Ignite, so he doesn't have that heal on his own, and Galio wasn't able to heal him in time, probably just surprised by the burst damage of a Kog'Maw, using that Bio-Arcane Barrage, and with that Eye of the Storm shield from Janna.
Yep, down at mid, looks like Nocturne's looking for a gank here, but Talon's not giving him a chance, just staying just far away enough that that he can't come in. But Janna's coming up from bottom. Looks like they might go in with that wall, and they're gonna get the fear. He's gonna get the fear pock with the actually the tornado helps him get that fear pock, and they are able to finish off I am a cutie pie. Nocturne gets really low,
oh
but
my goodness.
wow, he got down to like 17 health, but he's able to get back. Taking some tower hits, so that got him really low, but he's able to escape, and that's 2-0 in favor of Jpak and friends.
Yeah, that was a timely silence and fear, but it just didn't turn him exactly the right way. Had it turned him, immediately backwards into that tower, would have resulted in a death. Instead, he gets away with 17 life, and we see, Nocturne jungling really fast, was level 4 before I'm a cutie pie hit 4 as Talon in middle there.
Yep, so there's a lot of action mid and at bot. Not too much going on top. They're just kind of farming a little bit of harass going down, but they're really able to just sustain that and not be in fear of dying anytime soon.
Right, and of course, Udyr's kind of known for his top lane dominance in the sense that you can't really push him out of lane. He just pops his turtle stance and he just farms up those minions. Of course, he's getting that lifesteal and mana regeneration just from hitting those minions with turtle stance, and he's just popping that shield over and over to really, dissuade Kennen from throwing those shurikens at him, from auto-attacking him. The farm up there does actually appear to be pretty heavily in Nothing Here's favor, 37-24, so that is 13 minion kills, and important note, is about 12 minion kills is almost the amount of a champion kill. So if he keeps up this advantage, although he might not pick up kills on that Udyr, he's just going to keep on farming to, the extent that it is almost like getting kills.
Yep, and so, yeah, doing a really good job up there, even though Udyr looks like, it hasn't really taken that much damage, still doing a good job of just CSing well and preventing Udyr from taking too much creep kills, actually going on top of him and trying to do some damage in retaliation, but Kennen is going to lightning rush in there and actually return the damage. There's actually a lot of fighting going on. Udyr is getting really low. Oh, and actually an ultimate coming down, and as Nocturne comes up, and is he going to get that fear proc? The flash comes out to prevent it, but a flash to chase him down, and Nothing Here ticks up that kill on I Will Dominate.
Yeah, that was a beautiful play by Nocturne. Of course, landed the fear. The flash came in to try to get out of range from I Will Dominate, but it was followed up by a flash from Nocturne, and of course, sealing the deal, landing that fear, and Nothing Here flashed in, just in time to pick up the final blow there.
Yep, so that puts Jpak and friends ahead at 3-0, and they're looking really good for the beginning of this. Again, they already have one game won, so if they win this game, that means they move on to the next round already.
Right, and they've already upset, V8, and we're going to see here if they can, pull off an upset against Dignitas, which would be huge. They have a really substantial gold advantage, 2.3k gold already, only 7 minutes into the game. That is rather huge. Karthus seems to be doing just fine so far against Talon in middle, actually out-farming him, and of course now he has level 6, so his ultimate can be used to help out every other single lane. Nocturne is probably about to hit level 6 here, probably after he clears his blue buff, and then he also will have great map presence with his paranoia, his ultimate that yells darkness and scares everyone.
Down at bot, there's some action going down. Both of them, AD carries getting down really low. Actually, an Ignite going down on Kog'Maw, but they just kind of back off as they realize they don't want to engage in that fight. And it looks like there's going to be a dragon being started at around 8 minutes into the game, and Jpak and friends are going to be able to take this without a fight.
Right, they see that Fiddle is up there in the river due to great ward placement, and so they were not afraid of taking that. They'd also gotten Voyboy low enough where if he tried to run in, an ultimate from Nocturne and an ultimate from Karthus would have almost certainly spelled his doom.
Yep, the Fiddlesticks does try to come in to maybe jump in with his surprise party, but Cannon knew about that because of the ward and backs off, throwing that shuriken to make sure he's not in the bush, and now he's just going to sit here and CS under tower.
Right, and of course he has his ultimate back up, so any attempt to dive him on tower would be kind of ill-advised, but he's just going to continue farming up here and doing a really great job top lane. They have great map awareness, and they've really followed Raiden around the entire time with that ward in that bush, and we see Kenneth on Karthus run up to that bush and ward it immediately as the last ward ran out, which is a great idea because sometimes you get killed while you're trying to place those wards, but if you put your ward up there and soon as the other ward goes down, you obviously have to keep track of that 3-minute timer, but it makes sure that you are safe from ganks.
Yep, and that ward right in that position has played huge dividends for them. It let Kennen know that the Fiddlesticks was coming. It also let them know where Fiddlesticks was so they could start the Baron, or sorry, the Dragon. I keep on calling it Baron, but that they could start the Dragon. So I mean, it's really helping them out to give them that additional map awareness to know where Fiddlesticks is, because Fiddlesticks, if you don't know where he is, could really be a lot of trouble for you.
Yeah, the one thing we just saw in middle, there's actually a lot of action going on bottom. Looks like everyone's going to get away safe, and Fiddle is going to come up. Was thinking about camping in that bush, but his team does tell him there is a ward there. So certainly, I think a pink ward is now going down, perhaps so they can clear that out, let Fiddlesticks sneak on in. One thing that happened in middle is I'm a Cutie Pie's combination of Rake and Cutthroat really did almost about half of that Karthus' life. So Karthus is now playing really defensively, of course, because he gets jumped on by Rake and that Cutthroat, and of course the ultimate from I'm a Cutie Pie on Talon. He will probably die from, even almost full life, and that is, what an assassin brings you going into level 8 or so.
Yep, and it looks like Nocturne was looking for an opportunity to jump in when the Talon actually tries to jump on Karthus, but isn't coming in just yet, still waiting around. Fiddle's also going to come around and wait in basically a mirror move. Actually, he's going to start the ultimate, going in with the ultimate, and the Nocturne comes in, jumps on top of the Fiddlesticks, and is fighting the Fiddlesticks now as the Talon jumps on top of the Karthus, is able to take down the Karthus as the Nocturne takes down the Fiddlesticks, and now the Nocturne is chasing the Talon, the Karthus ultimate, helping him do some damage to him, and that Q able to get him. Oh, the Cannon was coming in to help out, but the Nocturne is able to finish off the Talon by himself.
Right, Talon was, trying to escape towards top lane, but realized that Kennen was coming down and there was no escape for him. So again, really great play. Both of the middle laners, had their junglers there for backup, but it was very impressive by Jpak and friends because they knew Talon had that burst potential, was really aching to jump on that Karthus, knew that he could almost kill him from full life, and which he, eventually did under tower nonetheless. I don't believe he even, he did have to use his Ignite, but, did a great job of taking down Karthus, but it ends up in a 2-for-1 exchange because Nocturne just did so much damage, jumping into Fiddle's ultimate, which is kind of an unusual choice, but turned out pretty well for him, and now he's waiting in the brush here for that Fiddlesticks.
Yep, and he is able to get that fear on him, and Fiddlesticks is in a lot of trouble here, and is going to fall despite trying to use that drain to stay alive. Now the Nocturne turns on the Talon, choosing to fight with him instead of escaping, and this might turn out badly for him as he has to flash out, but the Janna coming in to help out. Now she has to escape, using that shield to get herself some more health, and she looks like it's going to be fine.
Alright, that Monsoon almost backfired on them because she kind of pushed Talon closer to the Nocturne, who had just flashed over that red buff wall. Regardless, Jpak gets away, picking up that kill on Fiddlesticks and losing no one. Of course, it was really great timing by Onion Bagel on Nocturne. He shielded to block that fear from Fiddlesticks, which would have likely helped him get away.
Yep, we actually saw Karthus trying to put a little bit more pressure on the Talon. Talon just healing that back up with the health potion. But up top, we actually see the Udyr going on top of the Kennen, tower diving while the ultimate goes off, is able to kill the cannon and get out of tower range.
Oh my goodness, just so much damage, chasing him all the way down. It looked like Kennen might have pushed a little bit too far, so I Will Dominate had the ability to, chase him down the entire lane. Of course, Bear Stance helping him catch up, Tiger Stance doing all that damage, and he has a build now of, 3 Doran's Blades and Mercury Tread, so certainly building health, damage, and that magic resist him to help him sustain against Kennen. We'll see if he comes down with anything else, perhaps a Hex Drinker or perhaps a Wit's End. Both are good items. I think we'd more frequently see Wit's End on a jungle Udyr, but it certainly could be used to great effect against a Kennen. We often see that go down in Aurelia versus Kennen matchups, so we kind of have to wait for I Will Dominate to head back to base. He has 700 gold saved up.
Yep, and we actually see the Fiddlesticks right here waiting for a ganking opportunity, but Kog'Maw and John are staying very far back. I think they know about it somehow. They have the pink ward here, so there are no wards here, but they somehow either sense it or they just know. Although the ultimate going on top of the Kog'Maw, the Nocturne coming in, he was prepared for this to go for the counter gank, but he isn't able to do enough damage, and it looks like... Oh, actually the Galio barely managing to get out of there with his life, so that is a kill for Dignitas.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting there because normally you have your support carry the offensive summoner skill and you have the AD carry the defensive one, the heal, so that the heal heals more to the AD carry because of course it only is half of as effective towards other people. But what we saw there is Galio only survived kind of by the skin of his teeth because he actually had that heal, went down I think any bit less. Had it been on Voyboy instead, on Voyboy's Corki, I don't think it would have been enough to save him from that Karthus ultimate. Nocturne was there. They were prepared for kind of a counter gank, but it just didn't turn out well for them. Kog'Maw got taken down way too low from that Fiddlesticks ultimate, and pretty successful exchange, 2 for 0 in fact for Dignitas. So they're trying to scratch their way back in it. They are 3,000 gold down, and it looks like Dragon will be in play here. There's no ward coverage from Dignitas quite yet, and it looks like Nocturne is going to pull it. Fiddlesticks, meanwhile, is up there in his jungle taking blue buffs, so he has been able to, keep all the blue buffs. Talon has decided, oh, I don't need those. But, in this instance, him being top, towards the top lane with taking that blue buff means that they give up a dragon, and essentially, another 1,000 gold advantage goes towards Jpak and friends. It kind of was at a loss for their name for a second there, but certainly they are playing very impressively. Of course, already have the 1-game lead by virtue of the forfeit because Skara didn't show up in time. We had to wait 40 minutes to get this going. So if they take this game, then they take the series.
Yep, and we actually see that Karthus doesn't have the blue buff. I think Nocturne accidentally took it somehow because he has the blue buff, and Karthus went over to take that blue buff, but I think Nocturne accidentally took it before the fight happened with the counter ganking that didn't work out quite well in the favor of Jpak and friends. Right here we see Udyr coming in, maybe looking for a ganking opportunity on Karthus, going in with his first time, going in, and they're going to do so much damage, but Nocturne comes in with his ultimate, and I Will Dominate is going to fall.
Whew. Yeah, I think Karthus building a little bit more tanky. Don't think they were expecting him to be able to survive there. So the flash in from Udyr, a little bit late on the cutthroat in from I'm a Cutie Pie on Talon, I feel. But that Rod of Ages already built on Karthus, also has a Doran's Ring, has quite a bit of health, not so much, armor-related defenses, but he is pretty sturdy, and that exhaust helped him survive. Now I'm a Cutie Pie going down on him, ultimate does get the kill, but of course he trades because of Karthus' passive allows him to continue the damage output.
Yep, so that puts the kills at 8-4 in favor of Jpak and friends, and they have a pretty good lead at this point with about 5k gold.
Karthus says, Cutie still has his ultimate. What's going on here? Yeah, he didn't actually use his ultimate in the previous gank when Udyr jumped on in there. He didn't use his ultimate, probably because he got frightened from that Nocturne ultimate. And that's what Nocturne ultimates do. They do scare you, and Nocturne, we see here, is going around the long way, was coming in for a bottom gank, but Voidboy and Locust kind of smelled that out. They're like, something fishy is going on here. They do have that ward in the Tribush. I don't think Nocturne went inside of that, but I think they just knew something was happening anyway.
Yep, so they are just going to go back, as is the Janna, so looks like they're going to try to buy up some more. A lot of Doran's Blades being bought in this game, actually.
Yeah, Doran's Blades, of course, are actually more cost-efficient now. Vampiric Scepter got nerfed. Lifesteal, all in all, got nerfed. Bloodthirster also got toned down a little bit, but that just makes Doran's blades even better.
Oh, up at top we see Fiddlesticks coming in for a on top of Kennen. Kennen's dashing out, and actually they don't get the kill on Kennen quite yet, and Kennen's actually able to get away. I did not know how he got away, but wow, it looked like he was done for because he had the Udyr who was stunning and the Fiddlesticks with the fear, but able to get back. Nocturne actually comes in and is going to try to fight here, and he's going to get that fear on, and just after a little bit of trading just to get them away from the tower, both of them back off. Talon actually coming in looking for a killing opportunity on Onion Bagel, and he is just backs off.
He's going to back off because Karthus, appropriately follow Talon up, and that's actually a dangerous thing for Karthus to do, because of course if he got caught by Talon in the jungle, it might lead to his death. Talon puts a nice ward there on the red buff of Jpak and friends.
Yep, up at top
really
we see
nice
the Nocturne actually fighting with the Udyr. The Kennen came in to try to help, but Udyr backed off, so he is able to get away just fine.
Yeah, Kennen already had to blow his flash and his ultimate to get away from the gank. I mean, great use of both his flash and his ultimate, just got one final tick on that Udyr and allowed him to survive from that tower dive and from the gank with Fiddle. So it certainly was worthwhile to use that ultimate, but he didn't have it there for, going on the offensive. Talon is roaming around a lot now, playing, oh my goodness, and Paranoia goes down top lane.
Yep, and they are trying to get on top of the Udyr, but Udyr is able to back off, not able to get that third mark on him to get the stun off, so a little bit of a wasted Paranoia from Nocturne, but it looks like he might actually stay. Now he's just going to go back. Looked like he might want to go back in and try to get another gank on I Will Dominate.
Yeah, the one thing they have in their advantage here is that Karthus, of course, has his ultimate up, so Kennen's doing a lot of damage. His ultimate's going to be up, so I think we'll see, he will use his ultimate, Karthus will use his, and Ignite will come down, and that should be enough to take out this Udyr. There it goes.
And
he's taking a lot of damage.
Oh,
no Karthus ultimate yet.
Yep, so looks like, he's very low. Karthus ultimate would be very close to take him out, but he's going to just back off and no Karthus ultimate going down. Actually, down at bottom, we see the Fiddlesticks going in for a gank. Jonna getting really low and finally getting taken out by Voyboy, who flashed in, trying to take out the Kog'Maw as well, uses his ultimate.
Oh, and the big one catches him. Oh my goodness, but to counter that, they're like, oh, well, we see they have 3 people down bottom. We know that Udyr's back. We know that Talon just went back. Hey, we're going to take this Baron, and they're killing it really quick. Of course, that is a big advantage you have from Karthus. A lot of sustained damage, so he can just, pop down Baron quicker than just about any other AP caster. Maybe Cassiopeia is up there with him, but really great. They pick up that Baron, really huge for them, and Udyr's going to run into them here. Might get caught. Looks like he is going to get caught by that Wall of Pain. That fear does go off, and a stun from Kennen. An exhaust goes down from Karthus, and they are just going to pick him up. Yes, just do pick him up. Talon is coming around. Probably wants to defend this blue buff, but 3 people there, a little frightening for him. And Fiddle, of course, also wants to defend that blue buff. Talon runs in, ultimate's in, and just kind of backs out. Does a ton of damage to that Karthus, but is it enough? It will be enough with Fiddle coming down with his drain. That Karthus ultimate is going out, though. A lot of damage coming down. And Janna running in there, trying to pick up some kills. Oh my goodness, but she's going to fall as well, it looks like.
And it looks like the Nocturne trying to chase down this Talon as Kennen falls and is able to take down the Talon. Fiddle is really low, but the Corki is there as well to back him up. So a pretty long fight, but looked like Dignitas got the better end of that fight. But Jpak and friends were able to pick up that Baron for free, so they have that going for them.
Right, now a 4.7k gold lead. Dragon is up, Dragon is in play. Fiddlesticks does not have his ultimate if they want to, kind of sneak that right now, but then again, a lot of people don't have their ultimates for Jpak and friends, and they're all coming back from base. So we will probably see some contests over there at Dragon, but for now, it looks like I Will Dominate just chasing down Nocturne up top. Nocturne's just going to be happy to take a lot of that farm before it gets to the tower.
Yep, and really not much going to happen. They're not doing enough damage to each other to really take each other down, so they both back off as it was under the tower. So again, as you said, Dragon is up, but it doesn't look like either team is looking to go for it right now. 3 members of Jpak and friends are near top, and actually everybody is either mid or top right now.
Right, except Voyboy, who is on Corki, has a red buff but has no mana, and as a Corki, you actually need your mana to be fully effective in fights. A lot of other AD carries can just do a lot of auto attack damage, but Corki relies on his Trinity Force procs, relies on those missiles to do damage, and we saw him, do a lot of work bottom lane, chasing down that Janna and that Kog'Maw, picking up kills with those missiles and picking up the last kill with the big one, of course, which does double damage. But now it looks like Jpak and friends are all heading towards the dragon, but enough time has elapsed that Fiddlestick's ultimate is up. That being said, a lot of ultimates are also up for Jpak and friends, but not Karthus' ultimate, not quite yet.
Yep, it looks like Kennen just doing a little bit of a poke to try to zone them out, which is successful. They are able to take that dragon for free. And actually, Nocturne ultimate and the Kennen ultimate going down after the flash, and they're going to just jump on the Fiddlesticks, taking him down really quickly, then back off. So great job taking him down. Karthus actually picking up the kill on Fiddlesticks. Looks like they're going to try to push mid now.
Yeah, that does look like to be the plan. And incidentally, they took Baron, but they only had 3 members of their team up at the time, and now the only one remaining with Baron buff is that Nocturne. But he's pretty happy about it. And last night we saw teams and junglers in particular really running a lot of support items. We saw Crumbs on Curse, rushing Aegis, rushing Reverie, rushing Hearts of Golds, and Philosopher's Stones. So they really went support item builds, but this game we don't see that. We see Fiddlesticks going straight AP, we see Nocturne going straight into a Frozen Hammer, Wriggles, and some Doran's Blades there. So no real big support items, and we actually don't see really big support items coming down from the support carries yet, or the support position yet. We don't see any Aegises, for example. I think that is probably what Janna is working towards right now, but as of right now, they haven't quite gotten that built up, despite taking a lot of dragons and that Baron. We'll see. Janna doesn't have that very much gold in store, so might not be able to pick anything up. Does go for a Kindle Gem, which will build into a Shurelya's Reverie for better initiations later on.
Yep, so right now, Jpak and friends are up 12-9 in kills. They are up about 5.5 K in gold. So they did, again, take that early Baron and did take more dragons. Actually, did they take all the dragons? Actually, no, sorry. There's a fight going down mid as the ultimate popped from Talon, but they're both just going to back off and nobody's going to die here. But did Jpak and friends take all the dragons?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've picked up every single dragon thus far, had complete dragon control, have had Baron control as well. Of course, only taken the one Baron, but that is the only one that has been in play. Both of the teams have really great initiation and surprisingly, large AoE burst damage for these team fights. So we'll see, who lands their ultimates better. Right now, Jpak and friends kind of pushing down middle. They see Voyboy bottom farming up. They know Eater is top lane, kind of dueling with the Nocturne. So they have a 4v3 here middle. Do a little bit of damage to that turret, take it down to about half. Oh my goodness! And up top, we see very surprising. Even though that Nocturne, has spent money on oracles, doesn't really have, a particularly strong build, aimed against an Udyr, does take down Udyr one-on-one, finishing him off with his ultimate. Really surprising. Of course, he has popped some elixirs, and that does make you really strong, albeit only for 5 minutes.
Yep, and he does also have 2 levels on the Udyr, so that certainly helped him take down the Udyr, and just using that ultimate, and in the end, to finish him off.
Of course, yeah, you see a 7-0 Nocturne. Really great play by Onion Bagel. Really jungled incredibly fast throughout the game. Is getting jumped on here by Corki, but Corki is going to pay for it and does go down, and Onion Bagel will survive, although Talon rushes in there, is really excited to pick up that bonus gold, does get the 500 bonus gold. Oh, and almost goes down to that Kennen, but Kennen is going to be able to get away. Talon is going to be able to get away, and hopefully, buy something nice with all that shiny new gold he got from that bonus killing spree.
Yep, and so basically almost all of Dignitas has to fall back right now, but looks like Jpak and fans are looking to keep up the pressure. They are pushing top, and they're pinging bot actually, so it looks like Kog'Maw's going to go down there to clear those lanes.
Yeah, it looks like the only advantage in this game so far going to Dignitas is Voyboy on that Corki. He is 4-2 compared to the 1-2 of Kog'Maw. His build is a little bit more developed. He has Trinity Force and a BF sword that will most likely go into a Bloodthirster. Meanwhile, Kog'Maw has his Infinity Edge but hasn't quite built his Phantom Dancer yet. Does pick up another dagger going towards that Phantom Dancer, but still needs that Cloak of Agility and, probably about 1,000 more gold to really finish it off.
So Corki actually does have about a 1,000 gold lead on the Kog'Maw, so that's really helping him get those items faster.
And that's pretty crazy. That's a 1,000 gold lead despite losing every single dragon, losing Baron, those kills, and the superior farm. He's almost, 50 farm up on that Kog'Maw. We'd see a Nocturne ultimate go in.
Yep, and we see them jumping on top of the Udyr, but the rest of the Dignitas is here. The Gallia ultimate going down to try to trap them from the bush, but there's so much damage going down from that Karthus and from the rest of Just Your Average Joes that it looks like they might be able to finish this off with that ultimate from Karthus and an ace. Actually, Kog'Maw picked up a lot of those kills, doing so much damage, and now it looks like they're going to try to go for this Baron with only the 3 of them, with Nocturne and Cannon very low still.
They should be okay. Kog'Maw is going to tank it. Of course, Baron targets the closest opposing member teammate, actually the closest champion, regardless of what team they're on. Always targets the closest champion. Now Nocturne is going to go in there. They have to do a lot of footwork here, keep on switching up the tank for this Baron, but they do take it down. A huge advantage for them. A really great play there by Janna. What we saw there was kind of unusual because certainly Jpak and friends decided to initiate that, but Dignitas knew it was coming. They had Gallia wait in the wings. They had the Fiddlesticks waiting behind them to land that ultimate, but just the AoE damage proved to be superior, and Kog'Maw came in, after all the messy stuff was done with, after the Gallia ultimate was over, after Fiddlesticks ultimate was done, and it just did a ton of damage. Nocturne was also able to do, outduel the Corki. Of course, he did have the help from Karthus' ultimate, and we saw a really clutch Monsoon from Janna as well. As soon as Fiddlesticks jumped on in, Jpak used Monsoon, get him away. Now, Jpak did fall on Janna eventually, but certainly, saved their team from taking a lot of damage from that Fiddlesticks ultimate.
Yep, and that really helped them take that fight despite being basically ambushed from the bush by Galio and Fiddlesticks.
Right, and Gallia, of course, his ultimate got interrupted by that ultimate of Kennen. It did take a while, so the teammates were taunted for a little bit, but in the end, Kennen was able to interrupt it with a timely ultimate, and that Karthus is just doing lots and lots of AoE damage. As his death cap, looks like he's building towards Zhonya's Hourglass.
Yep, and Jpak and friends takes one more dragon, and now they're up about 10k in gold. And after that turret, they're up even more. And actually, a Nocturne ultimate going down. They are trying to jump on top of these Fiddlesticks, which they do, and are able to take him out pretty easily. Now they're going to focus their attention on mid lane.
Right, they have to get the minions up here to help them out. Meanwhile, Voyboy is kind of trying to backdoor back there, pushing in the bottom lane. He knows his team has like a little while to be safe because those minions aren't helping out Jpak and friends. But certainly it's now a 5v2 middle lane, and it'll be hard to defend that, especially since Nocturne, Kennen, and Kog'Maw all have that Baron buff. They're going to push this down here. Voyboy's going to keep going to hope to exchange inhibitors here, but this fight might be the doom of the team. Galio lands a good ultimate, but is taking a lot of damage, will go down to that Nocturne, and the ultimate is going to pick up Talon. Oh my goodness, what a great play by McCutiePie. Does interrupt that ultimate, is almost going to kill the Karthus, does not, thanks to a shield and a Monsoon from Janna. An inhibitor goes down, but meanwhile Corki's pushing down the inhibitor, so they're exchanging one inhibitor for another, but it looks like Jpak and friends are at a point where they will likely be able to just finish off this game. They do take out that Fiddle, who ultimate's in there. It gets kind of countered by that Kennen ultimate. Gets taken down almost instantaneously before he can even use his Zhonya's Hourglass, and the game is over, and it goes to Jpak and friends. Of course, the first game was a disqualification because Dignitas took too long. Scar did not show up. They had to find a replacement. So the series goes to Jpak and friends, who are continuing their presence of upsetting highly seeded teams, first with V8 and now with Dignitas, which is a huge surprise.
Yep, and that was just a good play by Jpak and friends to take that game, having good map awareness, to take those dragons and to take those barons, and that was really what helped them win this game. Those global objectives helping them so much. I mean, if you look at their farm, it looks like Dignitas actually did a lot better job. We see Voyboy on Corki who has 260 CS compared to Kog'Maw, who has about 196, so that's a lot of more CS. But the global objectives really helping them to take the advantage and giving them that gold.
Right, and I think one thing we have to see here is an 11-1 Nocturne. Absolutely stellar play from Onion Bagel on Nocturne. Really took advantage of ganks, really knew when ganks were coming down on that Karthus, was able to counter gank, pick up a lot of kills, and then late game he could just 1v1 anyone on Dignitas. He, dueled it out with Udyr there. Udyr's, notoriously a really, really strong duelist with that Tiger stance, with Bear stance, with Turtle stance. But no, Nocturne was really not having any of it and just took him out all on his own.
Yep, so right now, this is the end of this best of 3. Again, we were going to bring you more than one game, but Dignitas had to forfeit one of those games because Skara did not show up. So Jpak moves on, and I believe they will face... they're going on to the... into the semifinals, so they're going to have to wait until the rest of the quarterfinals end to see who they'll face.
Exactly. But, I mean, they have, had really stellar showing so far. Very excited to see how far they can get in this tournament. Maybe take it all. The one thing we do have to say there, of course, Skara wasn't there for Dignitas. Skara is the kind of, the heart and soul of that team, I feel. Always in mid lane, always doing a lot of work. One of the best AP carries in the world, without a doubt. So losing him was certainly detrimental to them. I Will Dominate normally plays in the jungle, was forced to move top lane. They had to bring their sub in, who went to the jungle. And really their whole team composition kind of got messed up. I'm a Cutie Pie went middle on Talon, and Voidboy went bottom on Corki. And these are not the positions, anyone normally plays. The only person that got to keep his role was Locust, who played Galio as a support.
Yep, so we still have some more games coming up for you later today. So stay tuned for that. Our next game is at 3 p.m. So it's going to be right here on this channel. So you can just stick tight and keep that stream up and wait for it to come up.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, of course, we'll be bringing you a lot of AOD music. Going to give a shout out again to gaming.stackexchange.com. They are our sponsors for this tournament. They are what allows us to bring all these amateur teams and pro teams together, going for that $5,000 prize pool, and they're also running contests for you, the average viewer out there. Up this week for grabs is a solid-state drive and a 27-inch LCD HD TV. Certainly just go to gaming.stackexchange.com, ask some questions, answer some questions, put ggClassic in your profile, and you'll be in the running